you can only be stupid for just so long. And, I go after the American people, periodically for, we looked at the Republicans running Romney after running McCain.
Yep.
Yeah, if the Republicans really don't like Obama and think all these things, that they say about him are true, why would they run two consecutive organized crime dons for President of the United States?
This boggles the mind, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. I concur. I give him the American Political Achievement Award for the new millennium so far. I mean, it took some real...
Three serious minutes here?
You got 3 and then some.
Okay. If you spend time on the Internet, you have idiots who typically will talk about false flag attacks in the U.S. and whatever. However, we received a warning from the president at whitehouse.gov, and this would be called an internal threat assessment. It's a public document signed by President Obama that warns the American people that within the government we have groups who are planning violent attacks. And this is part of our own government. It's not these aren't radicals. These aren't disaffected veterans. This is within the U.S. government. We have groups planning attacks on the government and the nation. The attacks on the nation that are planned, I will tell you, are nuclear. And that we are currently under a full nuclear alert in the United States, that one or more cities are targeted with nuclear munitions, that minimally, and you've heard this from Captain Eric May and others, who are basically right for some period of time, and even from Mike Shrimpton, who is politically, we are at the opposite spectrum. This is very much for real. Read President Obama's notice, and he tries to couch this in as mild a terms as possible, other than the fact he is very specific that the United States is currently under threat from organizations within our own government, and he's talking about the Pentagon, people within Homeland Security, people within our intelligence services, and they are working with groups that are financed by, in particular, the Gulf Cartel, and very well-organized groups who are, for whatever reason, closely aligned to Israel, and who are strong supporters of the Romney campaign. But they are planning terror attacks against the U.S., and that notice is there, but not being carried by any news media, but it is at www.whitehouse.gov, signed by the President of the United States and suppressed in all the media.
It has been, not here, not at your place, but...
I hear your music there.
I do hear music, yeah. We'll do this little break here and come right back. This is important. The price tag on the nuke or nukes to be used, subsidized by whom, and where does the hardware come from? Questions we might toss at Gordy when we come back in just a couple of minutes. Hang on. Okay, back with you folks, and we're going to find out from Gordon in just a minute where these tactical nukes might come from. Interesting headlines, a couple quickies for you. Press TV reports planned assassination attempts on U.S. officials by AIPAC. Be running that for you a little bit later. Let's see, the other one. Brzezinski, Zabig, tells...
Ah, that's the Kevin Barrett article, yes.
There it is. Tells the U.S. to stop following Israel like a mule or jackass. But there's the big news. So, look, if we've ever had a time in this country where there were factions capable of doing things, I think we're looking at it right now. Factions within.
Jeff, let me leak a couple of things out here. I work in the defense sector. I'm with the Damas Corporation. We Well, how does one explain? What am I allowed to say here? This is one of those areas here.
Think postal. Postal.
I can say that people I know, high-ranking retired U.S. officials within the intelligence community, who were assumed to be very anti-government, were approached and offered a tremendous amount of money to take part in an attempt to overthrow the U.S. government and assassinate a significant number of key officials in Washington, including but not limited to the President, Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and others.
Talking about a decapitation move here. Yes,
and that I can speak quite specifically that I know there is such a plan. I know that plan is in operation. I also know that the Justice Department is aware of it. I have friends that have reported actively that they have, well, as many as 2,000 members of the U.S. military are said to be involved, that the initial plan was to offer the presidency to General Petraeus, who I believe was not involved in the plan in any way, but so many people were going to be killed that he was going to be the only credible leader left and was going to be offered the presidency by this group that had chosen him.
Geez, our version.
This group is this is the same group financing the secessionist moves, those people who are honestly involved in this, who believe that the U.S. isn't representing them. I will let you know that drug cartels, major insurance companies, the pharmaceutical lobby, a couple of international law firms, and the banking industry, financial industry, is entirely behind your moves for freedom. No, it's a pure duped into slavery. So you've got a choice if you don't like the way things are now, and you shouldn't. There's no question about it. If you don't think you had the right candidates to vote for in the election, you're not alone in this. But the people who are offering you a solution have plans for you that you won't like. And if it sounds too good to be true, like with any other con, it is. And they want to push you into it, because no one's going to take anything seriously anymore after 9/11 and losing 2 wars. The only way to up the ante is to kill as many as 5 million Americans. The TV show Jericho is being planned in real life. Decapitation of the U.S. government, and every effort is underway. It's very much like a war. We have endless confirmations on this from within the military. And if you're following, let's say, Webster Tarpley or Wayne Madsen or others who are getting part of the story, if you take their story and others, people who work inside Washington are seeing this go on as we speak, but they're seeing pieces of it. My own view on this is one of the few times when I have been that seriously concerned about. I don't worry about a lot of things. You know, it's you're old enough at a time. You've been through enough. You know, we're all, especially after the election, after years of financial struggle. Although I go through less of it than some, because I may even be part of the problem sometimes, but. We're not oblivious to these people standing on the corners with the signs, "We'll work for food." You know, they're not all welfare bums. This increase of food stamp use from 27 million to 47 million simply means more children in the United States are eating now than were before. That starvation is less of an issue. Well, there shouldn't be any starvation in this country at all.
None.
But this meltdown in the U.S. has been carefully orchestrated. The gas prices, the collapse of banking, the collapse of the currency is carefully orchestrated to put a police state in power here and to pre-stage the United States for a military takeover.
Mm-hmm.
And that military takeover isn't the military. Who's taking this over are the banks. They're taking the country over. Organized crime is going to take the country over. And if you follow John Hagee, if you follow John McCain, if you follow Lindsey Graham, if you follow anyone, and this is a key point I want you all to remember, look for anyone that talks about Benghazi, because Benghazi, oh yeah, it was planned. It was planned by people within the Pentagon, disaffected groups within the State Department. It was planned and executed by allies of the United States at the direction of disaffected elements within the United States as a way of attempting initially to rig the election. And now, of course, it's being played out by the dregs of the universe, and that would be the senators who have gone after Susan Rice. But all they're doing is telling us that they were part of this organization we're talking about. And if you look into their history, look into the history of John McCain. That'll be more than clear. Now, before the election, I was contacted by members of our law enforcement community at a federal level and given specific information about the history of Mitt Romney, about his agreement with the Castro brothers.
Got it.
On Veterans Today, we published a memo from Raul Castro to Mitt Romney on Cuban Ministry of Defense stationery, where the Cuban government offered to support his election based on favors he had offered them. We have available recordings of Romney done in Cuba, where he offers to help them with human trafficking, money laundering, and the importation of drugs in the U.S. Recordings of Romney. Romney's mistress, now if any of you missed this, Maria Perez Andropov. If you want to know whose daughter this was, just simply go to Google, type in Andropov, Soviet Union, and you know who Romney's mistress in Cuba was. Her father's name was Yuri Andropov.
Yeah, the one and only. All right.
We have a photograph of them together.
Yeah, I ran it. I linked to it. Yep.
And I will tell you, all this information was given 9 months ago to ABC News, including the photograph, which the individuals who took this out of the Justice Department, frankly, asked for a lot of money. Then 4 months ago, I found, and I learned this morning, they had turned all of this over to the Wall Street Journal. And, of course, I'm talking to them today saying, you don't have a clue that the Wall Street Journal is owned by Rupert Murdoch? Well, yeah, but you don't know that Rupert Murdoch is one of the people running the organization you're trying to break up?
No, they don't. All right, let's. We've got just a couple minutes left here. This group, this organization, this seething cartel that is trying, at the behest of its bankster controllers, to make big changes here. What's the timeline? And it seems from what you're saying, if I can read between the syllables, that this is now too big and too strong to easily pull out from under the rock. It's got lots of tentacles, and it seems to be almost inexorably moving forward, and has been so clever and thorough in its planning that there's going to be a hell of a lot of work to do to stop it. Is that fair?
I have a pile of files, Jeff. They start with 1984, and they begin with George W. Romney, the father of Mitt Romney, Carlos Salinas, former president of Mexico and head of the drug cartels, and certain groups within a retail corporation known as Walmart.
All right, this is going to be very interesting, shall we say, in the next 6 to 12 months or less. What's our time? Is the fuse? Is the fuse smoking?
I will tell you that this were Petraeus still in CIA, this would have happened last weekend.
Well. All right. So he's off the chessboard completely. He's gone.
Yes.
All right.
And the issue now, and this is where I end up in guessing, because if I'm guessing, I'll tell you I'm guessing. I'm guessing that their fallback is Mrs. Clinton, who would have otherwise have been killed, but that Mrs. Clinton is believed to be by many to be someone they'll be able to get to because of her husband's relationship with the Bush family. But she is very much slated for the presidency after Obama. And I will say that I was one of her supporters at one time, but
things change.
Things change.
Yeah, they sure do.
Fascinating. That was a fast hour, Jeff.
Was that an hour? Seemed like 15 minutes.
Are we done here?
We are.
Oh my heavens!
Time to go listen to that playlist for a little bit and unwind.
And we haven't discussed our radio project here.
We will. We'll do that soon. We got to get a little more solidness under it, but it's a very interesting one. We'll do that next time. Thank you. That was extraordinary. We will see what happens, and we'll watch Veterans Today for the lead on this.
And I want to apologize for alarming anyone. I would not have done this if I didn't believe it necessary.
No, we know who you are. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks, my friend. Take care.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Gordon Duff, Senior Editor, Veterans Today, with some words to the wise. And we'll be back.